For your patience, and just before we begin the press conference today, if we could just remind everybody to turn your phones off, if that's all right, and then we will crack on. It's great to see so many people here, of course, the UK press, well represented, and our friends from New Zealand that have come here to support and cover their man in this fight. Of course, we are here at Old Trafford, the home of Manchester United. Sir Bobby Charlton famously called this place the Theatre of Dreams, and of course, dreaming is what these two guys are doing with their heavyweight ambitions now. Joseph brings the WBO belt to Manchester, and that's the belt that obviously Hughie feels he can rip off him on Saturday night. A great event, and of course it will be exclusively on YouTube. Details to my left here, of course, Parker Fury. So youtube.com, Parker Fury. It will be screened more than 25 countries. It is a revolutionary way now of obviously covering sport in this digital age. So the fight on YouTube, and a cracking fight, and I know two teams that are super confident. So firstly, ladies and gents, obviously a familiar face to my left. A few words from promoter MICK HENNESSY.
Thank you. Thanks for the great attendance today at this fantastic venue at Old Trafford. Very, very proud to be doing this press conference here and bringing this fight to Hughie's hometown and his home football team. What a fight this is. For me, as I've said before, the best fight in the heavyweight division right now. Two young guns, both unbeaten, both young, as I said, both brilliant world-class talents, putting everything on the line. This is a real 50-50 fight, and it's going out. Dom said it's going out to 25 countries on YouTube, but it's probably going out to another 20 on TV around the world as well. So it's gaining a lot of attention this week, and it's something that I think everyone needs to stay peeled on, because you know there's going to be an upset in the heavyweight division this weekend, and it's going to be this young man to my left. He's going to make a huge statement. He's going to shake up boxing at the tender age of 23. He's only just turned 23. It's incredible that he's here at this age. He's done brilliant things. So I'm looking forward to this event. I hope you all are too. youtube.com/Parker Fury, where the fight can be found. You can watch it on your TV. Everyone with a smart TV. It's going to be a tremendous production, a great show. Tune in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mick. Just like to hear from, obviously, from New Zealand, from the Duco camp, and David Higgins alongside me. It's nice to see you at the table today, David. Would you like to say a few words?
Wonderful to be here for the WBO Heavyweight Championship of the World, Joseph Parker versus Hughie Fury. If you live in Manchester, I think you're pretty silly not to buy tickets, because it might not be often you get a genuine heavyweight world title fight in your own backyard. And I'd like to say, I think this promotion and the Fury camp have proved a lot of people wrong. A lot of big egos in English boxing rubbished them and said that they wouldn't put the fight on and they wouldn't put the money in the bank. They rubbished me for backing the word of Peter Fury, who said they'd put the money in the bank. So guys like Eddie Hearn, who promised to meet our New Zealand travel group but pulled out on the day, break their word, but not the Furies. That's why we're here today. So look, it's been a long and winding and tricky road putting this fight on, but it's absolutely on, and it's the heavyweight title. I think Tony Bellew also, I sat next to him in Liverpool 2 months ago. He sat a foot away from me. I couldn't get a word in. He shouted at me for half an hour about how it's never going to happen because these guys won't put up the money. Well, Blowhard Bellew has a bit of egg on his face, and hopefully we can fight him also one day. As for Monday, you're probably wondering about the performance on Monday. Look, we wanted impact. We wanted to get noticed because we want scrutiny on the officials. Now, what many don't know is I'd worked tirelessly for 4 weeks behind the scenes, respectfully lobbying, writing letters, to the British Boxing Board of Control, to the WBO, who supported our position. Their guidelines call for neutral officials. And after many weeks of lobbying, we couldn't get a change. So then after Monday, the referee changed, and our team are happy about that. But I want to say, the officials are not best practice. We think best practice is full neutral, like the WBO guidelines. But we don't blame the Fury camp for that. We think the British Boxing Board should have a good look at its guidelines. Sorry. So, and also, there's a few silly old know-it-alls back in New Zealand, and they know who they are, who are sort of saying I'm out of my depth, this kind of thing. We wouldn't be sitting here today if I was out of my depth. The reality is, I've been promoting boxing only 8 years. I've only got 2 boxers. They're both world champions currently. That's a 100% success record in promoting world champion boxers. And getting this thing here today was about the damn trickiest thing you can do in boxing with all that was involved and all the cat and mouse. So we stepped through it. Here we are. We got the terms of the contract for Joseph Parker. The terms in the contract were on our terms. The referee changed, and everyone's now talking about the fight. That's the other job of the promoter. You want people to be talking about the fight. So I'm pretty happy about the job, and I make no apologies. And then finally, sorry. Look, finally, I'd just like to thank Peter Fury for promising me that I'm safe here in Manchester and I'll go home in one piece. And because I tell you what, if it was Eddie Hearn, I'd have my doubts. But Peter is a man of his word. So we're all going home safe to the New Zealand competition.
Thank you, David. Well, on with the fight, obviously at the Manchester Arena, and firstly, the challenger. A word from the trainer and father. You've been up in Windermere, Peter. You've been back to basics in many ways, but just give us an insight into how camp has gone and why you're so confident.
Well, he's had a great camp. He's been doing this from a young boy. This is his dream. So this is where he's at now, and this is his big moment on the world stage. He's more than ready, and he has had a very, very hard camp, the hardest camp he's ever had in his life. Because we know the challenges Joseph brings. He's a good fighter. I've always said he's a good fighter. So we've prepared Hughie for every scenario as best we can. So when you know you've done all your training and he's done everything that I've asked of him, then it's time to sit back and enjoy it and let the best man win, because there's no excuses on our side whatsoever. He's had a brilliant training facility up in Windermere, in the lakes, outdoor activities, the best of everything, best of sparring partners. Like I said, 12, 15 rounds 3 times a week for a solid 6 weeks. So everything's good there. Touching on what David said, he is right. There's been a lot of tricky roads to get here, although not by us, I will state. Eddie, he's come over here, David Higgins. A lot of these promoters and certain fighters thought he was wet behind the ears. They tried manipulating him, telling him the fight's not going to happen. I would call you devious little bastards. Yeah, because that's what yous are. Yous backbite people's heels. You can't talk like men. And this is what's gone on behind the scenes. This is boxing politics. But David has come to realise everything we said, we stood on to. I said, the fight's going to happen, you're getting your money, that's the deal. We're here today. The only time there's been a bendy road is because other people's got in his ear for their own interest. And look where they are today. And we will be meeting the New Zealand entourage, and I'll be speaking to them personally to get the best of welcome here. And there's no tricks, like we had in Germany. They get the best of fair play. And as far as the officials are concerned, nothing to do with us. The British Boxing Board of Control do a fantastic job. We've got the greatest name in boxing as being absolutely spot on, 100%, not swayed by anything. So we're happy with whatever official we get. So we're happy just to get in there and do the fighting.
Thank you, Peter. And just a word then from the opposing camp. And Kevin, training, obviously Las Vegas, the main base, but you've been with David Hay in London as well. So again, the same question, an insight to Joseph's preparations ahead of this one.
Well, Joe lives with me in Las Vegas. He does all his training there. And we had a very solid training camp, which we needed to, because we are very well aware of the challenge that Joe has on Saturday night. Just stepping back for a minute, a lot of people said to us after Hughie's injury and the pulling out of the fight in New Zealand at the last minute, we were getting calls from people saying, you know that if you lawyer up and petition, you can get him removed from the mandatory. Because look, looking at Hughie is a very difficult opponent. He's a guy that a lot of people don't want to fight. And we sat down as a team and I said to Joe, you know, do you want to fight Hughie Fury? And he said, I want to fight the best fight that there is for me in the UK at the moment. We have planned on coming here for the last 12 to 18 months. We wanted our fight here in the UK to be a memorable fight. We thought that Hughie brings the biggest challenge to us. He's a guy that is very skillful, he's very awkward. He's the sort of opponent that we know that if we let him dictate the terms and fight his fight on Saturday night, it's going to be a very difficult fight for Joe. So we've prepared very, very well for this. Joe's last 2 training camps and his last 2 performances in the ring, even though we won the world title and defended it once, were not his best work. This particular camp, we've had an outstanding camp. Everything's clicked, we've had no problems with injuries, and as Peter said before, they have no excuses, we have no excuses. We're trained very, very hard for this. We know the size of this challenge. You know, we have an opportunity right here at the moment in our first fight in the UK to look spectacular, to make a statement, and I can promise everybody here that the Joseph Parker sitting beside me today is the best Joseph Parker that I've seen, and Hughie really better be able to produce something big on Saturday night, because I know Joseph Parker will.
Thank you very much indeed, Kevin. Well, the main men, the lads that are going to do the business on Saturday night at the Manchester Arena. Of course, this will be the first boxing event at the arena as well, since those terrible events at the end of May. It adds emotion to it, and for you, Hughie, in your home city, you look around this venue here, it adds inspiration. And how inspired are you as the challenger to go into that arena on Saturday night and try and do what the odds would say are not possible?
Yeah, it's unbelievable, especially what happened there and everything, to perform there and put the performance of my life on. So it's going to be a pleasure to perform there, especially being the first time in Manchester Arena, in my hometown where I've been born and bred. And with whatever's happened there, with the tragic, and that, my heart goes out to all the families. There's no words what can be said, but I'm going to put on the greatest performance of my life, and I'm going to bring that belt back to Manchester.
But you would be known obviously for movement, for being slick, for posing awkward problems maybe. A lot's been made as well of the age. You've just turned 23, Joseph's a couple of years older than you. Why do you feel that now at this time you have what it takes to become a world champion?
Do you know what? You can look at my previous fights or whatever. No one's going to see what's hit him on the 23rd September, because this is a different Hughie Fury. I'm so hungry, I'm ready to put on a performance, and believe me, when I say I'm going to knock him out, I'm going to knock him out.
Well, a word then from the champion, the man that brings this very pretty WBO belt here all the way from, well, New Zealand and Vegas, I suppose. Joseph Parker, you've heard what Hughie's had to say, you've heard what the teams have got to say. What is going to happen then from the champion's point of view on Saturday night?
Firstly, it's great to be here in Manchester. It's great to see you all here today. Great to have my team, family and friends, parents. What can I say? You know, all the talk's been done. It's time to get in the ring and do our thing. I just feel like Kevin said, I've had a great training camp. I feel ready, prepared, I feel powerful. He wants to knock me out, I want to knock him out. So, you know, training camp is where all the hard work is done. The fight is a reward. I'm looking to get my reward.
You are here, of course, in the UK. Do you feel that this is the place to be anyway for heavyweight boxing? I mean, there's Hugh, obviously, but other names that are here. Is that part of the reason why you want the fight in the UK?
Yeah, I feel like the UK is where the heavyweight scene is at the moment, so we want to be a part of it. So our team just had a discussion, we feel it's important to come here and make a statement. And there's no better way to do it than to fight a young, hungry fighter like Hughie, who also wants to be champion. So I think from now on until the future, you're going to see us here a lot more.
Okay, now there is an opportunity for questions from the floor. There will also be an opportunity, of course, to speak to the boxers, the respective teams, on a one-to-one basis after the press conference is over. I know that TV as well, an opportunity to interview the guys maybe with the stand. Nice backdrop out there today as well. Just a couple of points as well. Ticketing wise, tickets available on the door at the Manchester Arena, is also eventing.com for this huge event. And don't forget as well, apart from these two guys here, which that in itself is a treat to look forward to, a stacked undercard as well with British title fights, a British bantamweight belt on the line, there's interim titles as well, great local fighters and great UK domestic prospects as well on that bill. So not just about the main event, although that should sell itself, the event itself at the arena on Saturday night is something to really look forward to in the fighting capital of the UK. Now, ladies and gents, again, as I say, one-to-ones available, but we will open it to the floor as well. So any of the assembled media, if you have any questions for our panel here, if you raise your hands, make yourself clear and address who you'd like to address.
Nick, how are ticket sales going? Sounds like there's only 5,000 sold earlier in the week.
That's right, yeah, and they're going up by the day, especially with Media Week kicking in, the most important week of the fight. The tickets are going up by the day. I said before, these are two young heavyweights, world-class heavyweights, who are on the verge, on the cusp of making their name. They're building their brands, and this fight, one of them is going to be, after this fight, one of them is going to be an elite fighter in the heavyweight division. No one was expecting to fill stadiums with this fight. We was realistic about it. So we're happy with where it's at. It's at a brilliant venue. It's in Hughie's hometown. It's in a world-class venue. And we're happy where it's at.
Can you give me a number?
We're hoping for about 8,000.
What was the choice behind picking Manchester Arena if you knew you wouldn't be able to fill it? Was there a particular reason?
Because the Manchester Arena, you can stagger it for as many as you want. You can open it out to 5,000, you can open it out to 10, or you can open it fully.
Is that a disappointing number in the city of 2.5 million though, to sell 8,000 tickets?
Sorry?
Is that a disappointing number, 8,000 in a city of 2.5 million?
That's the way boxing is now. There's so many events, and the titles are splintered. This is a great fight, I agree with you. This is better than other fights around it at the moment, but there are a lot of fights on sale, and in the same area.
David, you've had a bit of a crack at Eddie Hearn. Do you think that's wise, considering your lucrative fights with Joe with probably Eddie Hearn's fighters?
Yeah, very wise. You don't make lucrative fights by sucking up the opposition and pandering to Eddie just because he's got lots of money or whatever. In fact, me pointing out that Eddie let us down our tour group and broke his word probably helps build the Joshua or Balu in the future because it's the boxing business.
He has a full 18 months. He's recovered from his skin condition. Is there a concern that he's actually done any fighting?
I know he hasn't been in the ring for a while, but I guess he has a great team behind him. We'll watch the footage. We expect him to come out strong. We expect him to be. He says he's going to be different. So I think we can adjust and adapt when the fight happens.
So, same question for Kevin. How have you been able to sort of prepare for a fight like this? You don't really know what the opponent's going to bring to the table.
Okay, look, before I answer that question, I'd firstly like to say I'd like to acknowledge Tyson being here today, and we made it no secret that we would never have had this opportunity to become WBO World Champion if it wasn't for him knocking off Klitschko. So we appreciate you coming today, and we know we get all here. To answer your question, look, we've watched Hughie for many, many years. We always knew that this fight was going to take place at some stage. I just didn't realise it was going to take place in a world title defence. We know that Hughie's a skillful guy. We've watched him develop and get better with every fight, And the fact that he has been out of the ring for a long time, we're trained for a guy that no one's seen before. I expect the very, very best Hughie Fury, and we're prepared accordingly.
Any more questions from the floor before we break for the head-to-head and one-on-one interviews? Okay, thank you very much indeed, ladies and gents, for your attendance today.